Thank you, Dave, and welcome to the entire network now, watching the Riders and the Ticats. A 2-and-out for the Cats to start this game. Darian Durant, the Riders, their first possession, and Weston Dressler has the first down.
Darian Durant opens the game, not surprisingly, by going to his favorite target, Weston Dressler. Another of his favorite weapons, number 20. Wes Cates still trying to find his stride. Has yet to have his first 100-yard rushing game of the season. Great group of Canadians in that receiving corps. The offensive line led by the veteran, Gene Mikowski.
There's the pitch to Wes Cates. Has the edge. And then is dropped as Otis Floyd returns to the Hamilton Tiger Cat defense.
Yeah, and they're certainly happy to have Otis Floyd back after he missed a couple of weeks dealing with some concussion issues. The rest of this defense, good young defensive line, welcomes Darrell Adams back in at defensive tackle. He's been out the last couple of weeks with injury. This linebacking core, arguably the best three-man unit in the Canadian Football League right now. These guys have been on fire. In the secondary, halfback Chris Thompson, tied for the league lead in interceptions last season, collected his first of 2009 last week against Edmonton.
Chris Getzlaff is down. Saskatchewan Roughriders still without Andy Fantuz in their lineup. He nurses his hamstring injury, and this is how Getzlaff got hurt here, blocking Lawrence Gordon, and then it's like somebody may have rolled on him there with Riders in this game. In the first play, the kickoff, Kai Stewart had to be removed from the field. He was hurt too, so an auspicious start for the Riders in the injury department.
Getzlaff has been such a big part of this offense, particularly the last couple of weeks with Andy Fantuz out with injury. They relied on a couple of their young guys to really step up here. Getzlaff, a couple weeks ago against Calgary, had the big game, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Rob Begg, of course, a monster week last week, particularly in the first half against the BC Lions. Begg had over 100 yards and 2 majors in that first half. Just great depth among their Canadians in the receiving corps when you consider we're not even talking about Andy Fantuz and Jason Claremont.
See all the hoods. There's Andy Fantuz.
Hello.
Fantuz battling that hamstring injury.
What's up, everybody?
Hailing out of Chatham, Ontario, Andy Fantuz. And head coach Ken Miller. Looks like a little rain starting to fall now here at Mosaic Stadium. It's been a cold day. Wind is up and the rain's coming down. Second down, 6 yards to go. Durant going deep for Weston Dressler, unable to run under that. And so now the Riders will kick it back to the Tiger Cats.
Well, we're keeping an eye today on this matchup between linebacker Jamal Johnson of Hamilton and running back Wes Cates for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Johnson is Cates' blocking responsibility on this scheme. You'd see the two of them kind of mirroring each other. Johnson faking as to whether he's coming or not. He ends up on the blitz. Cates, one of the underrated parts of his game. He's such a great blocker, does a terrific job picking up the blitz on that play.
Jamie Borum, 42.5-yard average. Oh, this one off the side of his foot. Did not get it. Kicked it out of bounds. Will step aside and come back. And good field position for Quentin Porter and company. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League. Rona, doing it right since 1939. Back in a rainy Regina, where the Tiger Cats start off. Very good field position here. Their second possession close to the midfield stripe because of that shanked punt by Jamie Borum. Porter in the shotgun. Deandre Cobb in the backfield. Play action. And out of the backfield, John Williams has it, but only a couple of yards.
The Saskatchewan defense uses a lot of slants, angles at the line of scrimmage. They get all those guys up front heading in one direction or the other. Sometimes you catch them going the wrong way, and it seemed like the Hamilton Tiger Cats did on that one, as the defensive line slanted to the offense's right. Hamilton happened to have a boot call to the left, and that gave Quentin Porter all kinds of room.
2nd and 6. Quick hitter now, and in and out of the wet gloves of Dave Stala.
That one seemed like trouble from the moment it left the hand of quarterback Quentin Porter. Not a very good release. You can see a combination of a wet ball and certainly a wind that is picking up here in Regina. Could wreak a little bit of havoc with the passing game for these two teams today, Rod.
Nick Seta. Moving down, and a no yards call likely coming here as Eric Morris scrambled to get back on that football. Well, a couple of injuries already to the Roughriders so far in this game. Let's go to the sideline and join our reporter here, Ray Morrison. Ray?
Yeah, a little bit damp down here. Some injury updates from the Rider sideline here, Rod. Kai Stewart went in with a knee injury. Nothing structurally wrong, but he still went into the dressing room. They're going to look at that a little bit further. Ryan Getzlaf is okay after being banged up earlier. He's expected to be back in. But as you talked about, these injuries to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they don't treat them lightly just because they're suffering so many right now.
Thank you, Ray. And yes, Chris Getzlaf has returned to the ball game. And the Roughriders' second possession begins at the 25-yard line. Durant. Getzlaf. Ball was tipped, but into the hands of Getzlaf. Looks like he's okay.
Getzlaf ended up wide open. Nice combination pattern here from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Getzlaf, you see at the right side of your screen, pushes upfield and then runs the out route. Looked like Darrell Adams might have gotten a hand on that one at the line of scrimmage. Didn't affect the flight of the ball much, though. Getzlaf, a little bit of space, makes a play for his quarterback.
And up the middle, Garrett McIntyre's not fooled one bit by Wes Cates on 1st and 10. And Garrett McIntyre, this is the guy they've been applauding in Hamilton out of Fresno State, a guy that they talk about having a great motor, and he showed it there.
This is the key thing that everybody you talk to about Garrett McIntyre says is that motor, and you see how Otis Floyd, the linebacker, is the guy who really permitted McIntyre to make that play. Floyd stayed with the quarterback Durant, allowing McIntyre to commit inside to the run.
Penalty flag flies. Cates out of the backfield, but the ball was thrown behind him. We'll see what the call is. Our referee here today is Kim Murphy. And it is against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Offside, Hamilton, number 95. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
One of the newcomers on the line this year for the Cats, Justin Hickman. So 2nd down repeated, now 2nd and 7 for the Roughriders. Quickly get to the line of scrimmage. 4 receivers to the right for Durant. That's where he's looking. He's in trouble though. Escapes, has some running room. Can see the 1st down marker and steps out of bounds. Good recognition from number 4.
Yeah, great heads-up play from the quarterback, Darian Durant. Ends up with one less defender over on that offensive left side of the field, as they went with 4 receivers to the wide side. Means on the scramble, there's one less guy there to help come up in support against Darian Durant.
Now just on the Hamilton side of midfield. And Cates stopped, and he keeps going. McIntyre had him, and Cates instead turns it into a 1st down.
Well, we saw a couple of plays ago, Garrett McIntyre came in and made the tackle on this exact same scheme. Seemed like this time Wes Cates was ready for him. The backfield, McIntyre comes in from the left side of that defensive line. Cates sees him coming, slams on the brakes. spins out of trouble, turns what looked like it was going to be a big loss into a first down for the Roughriders.
Cade's averaging 4.6 before this game per carry. Quick hitter and a fumble. Jason Claremont fumbled the football, and it looks like the Riders may have been able to recover. Jason Claremont, the former most outstanding Canadian who has not seen a lot of football since coming over from the BC Lions.
No, he really hasn't, and this is a testament to the way some of the young guys have stepped up for them. You saw that ball get popped out of there on the tackle by that notorious ball hawk, Markeith Knowlton.
Claremont only 9 catches, make that now 10 catches on the season. Durant rolling, and into traffic, and it's caught. Jason Claremont with a great catch. And that's the Jason Claremont we knew as a BC Lion.
Well, you talk about a guy stepping up to redeem himself head-to-head with Markeith Knowlton for this one. I was sure this ball was going to be picked off, but Claremont goes up.
What a catch.
Just pulls it away from the defender. Secures the catch before he hits the ground. Great job by number 82, Claremont.
So this might be the breakout game for the Regina native coming back to play in his hometown. We'll see. It's a reverse. Dressler now with running room. Weston Dressler to the 10-yard line. Little razzle-dazzle from the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, it looked like the Roughriders were going to be in trouble right from the get-go. The initial handoff goes to Cates, and this one was telegraphed. Justin Hickman gets caught just a step too far inside. You see a great block right here. That's the quarterback, Darian Durant, pinning Chris Thompson to the inside, allowing Dressler to pick up a couple extra yards.
Sandy Beveridge knocking him out of bounds. Second down now, and 6 yards to go. Durant out of the pocket now, looking for the goal line. And he has a first down, but did not get into the end zone. What a drive this has been by the Roughriders.
And a drive that was extended by a penalty, an offside penalty. A second and long situation for Saskatchewan. The Roughriders have capitalized on that opportunity in a big way. Now the key, of course, is the finish.
Stephen Giles, backup quarterback, who's been seeing a lot of time, as Ken Miller is not hesitant at all to change quarterbacks, as he did all last season. Giles comes in, short yardage play, now first and goal for the Riders. Chris Sark in the backfield, so too Wes Cates. Giles looks like he wants to throw. He does. It is a touchdown to Keith Sholigan. How about that?
How's that for creativity? Big Keith Sholigan.
You don't think this guy's excited? Those guys don't get a chance to get into the end zone very often. Keith Sholigan, his first CFL touchdown.
Well, Sholigan benefits here from the ball being hidden by the quarterback, Giles. Nice run fake. First of all, everybody bites down inside. He sneaks to the outside. Most unlikely guy in the house. Sholigan comes up with the touchdown.
Boy, you got to think that the Sholigan family watching and friends in Rochester, Alberta. You saw probably yesterday during our CFL game the emotional story of Keith Sholigan, who lost his 2 sisters a few years ago. Tragic car accident. Football's been his therapy, and look at this. What a touchdown, what a moment. Dwayne Ford, I cannot recall a happier guy after getting a touchdown than Keith Sholigan.
No, still beaming ear to ear over there on the sidelines. Taking a little bit of ribbing from his teammates. Perhaps the catch wasn't necessarily textbook, but that doesn't take anything away from the moment for big number 74.
Boy, they had to rip that football out of his hands on the sideline. 7-0 Riders. Marquet McDaniel bursting outside and hit hard right there by Mike Stadnick. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sport. 5:16 to go, opening quarter. Soggy day here in Saskatchewan. Hey, it's football weather. Hardy souls here.
Yeah, it's always football weather in Saskatchewan.
It always is. They don't care. And their team's leading right now 7-0. 2 2-and-outs by the Tiger Cat offense. They need to get it going. Play action again. And Quentin Porter looks like he's having a little problem with the grip and release of the football. He hasn't thrown a good pass yet.
No, there have been about 3 of them where right from the moment that he releases it, it hasn't come off well. He's been short on a couple of these passes out to the flats. You wonder again between the wet football and the wind. I will say the Tiger Cats have the wind at their backs right now, but that's not always a benefit, particularly in that short passing game.
The Cats, however, did win in driving rain a week ago against the Edmonton Eskimos in Hamilton. So Porter can do it. He's in trouble. Drop the football. Fumble. And John Schick has it. Saskatchewan takes over.
Well, I don't see a lot of protest here from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I thought they might make the argument that Porter's arm was coming forward here when the ball came loose, that they might try to make a case for an incomplete pass, but no argument even from quarterback Quentin Porter on this one. John Chick comes off the edge, just collapses the pocket. No, he never had a chance to even get his hands up. Good awareness by Chick to slap that ball free. Just manages to drive Dan Goodspeed back. Collapsed the pocket, didn't get around him, but was able to reach past him and knock that ball loose.
Darian Durant scrambling again, and this time wrapped up and sacked. Markeith Knowlton. Garrett McIntyre in there with the little heat. Markeith Knowlton, the CFL Defensive Player of the Week, coming in to drop him after a gain of maybe 1.
Markeith Knowlton has had just a tremendous season here in his second year with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Dominant defensive presence for them in that strong side linebacker spot.
Almost picked off. Tip drill. Tron Walker almost was the recipient of a ball that caromed off a Hamilton Tiger Cat. It was almost picked off, and so Luka Conji will come out and attempt a field goal. Let's take another look at this, Dwayne.
Yeah, it looks like Darian Durant is looking underneath here. Weston Dressler sitting down. A lot of traffic on the short roads in front of him. Jamal Johnson in coverage on Chris Getzlaff underneath was the man who popped that ball up in the air.
Here's Conji, 7 of 10 this season. This is against the wind, which is a good stiff breeze right now. 38-yard line for Conji. And he bullets it through. 10-0 Riders. 3:16 to go in the first quarter. Luka Conji field goal extends the lead to 10. Let's go down to the sideline once again and join Ray.
Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cat defensive coaches were very concerned after the Roughriders scored a touchdown on the previous drive before the last one. They said, we committed a penalty. We let the quarterback get away. And as a result, Keith Sholigan scored the touchdown. Even though the Riders worked with good field position, they only were able to muster a field goal. And the defensive coaches here on the Hamilton side, much better. They said now everyone is doing their jobs and they're not trying to force the issue on the defensive side of the ball here, Ron.
As a guy who started his coaching career back in Saskatchewan in '94, Greg Marshall, the CFL break, kick went off the pass. They better cover it on a short kickoff, a line drive, and this will give good field position again to the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. But right now they have done nothing.
No, these guys have struggled so far. They almost ended up with another turnover here before they even got a chance to get on the field. This is actually a heads-up play by Ray Marius. Sometimes you drill that ball at one of the guys in the front row, hoping he's going to get his head turned as he tries to get back to set up his block, and you create a turnover. But Marius eventually reacted well, had his eyes on the ball, and was able to pick it up before the Riders got there.
couple of yards for the little whirlwind.
Cobb is one of those guys who, once he breaks that first level of defense at the line of scrimmage, can be very, very dangerous to the Roughriders today, particularly as they play without starting middle linebacker Will Williams.
Hamilton has yet to achieve a first down. Almost picked off by Lance Frazier. And another kick coming up from Nick Seta. So 3 2-and-outs and a turnover so far for the Tiger Cats. Are sputtering out of the starting gate here in Regina today.
Well, clearly not the kind of start the Hamilton Tiger Cats wanted, coming into a place that is a very difficult environment in which to play. They need to keep things calm on the sidelines, not start hanging their heads.
Seta. And over end. Ray Marius downfield. Hamilton notoriously, though, and we can talk about the last couple of seasons, 3 and 15, you know, they didn't have good starts, didn't have good middles and good finishes. But this year, they also notoriously have started slowly.
Well, they sure have. Through the first 6 weeks of the season, Hamilton Tiger Cats just have 17 points in the first quarter. So that's less than a field goal per game in the first quarter. You know, the saying is, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But nonetheless, the points all count the same no matter when you score them.
Just over 2 minutes. The Cats shut out so far. Darian Durant behind center this time, and the handoff. Cates following, blocking. Wes Cates last year had a really good season for the Roughriders, opening a lot of eyes the last couple of seasons. A former Calgary Stampeder got a chance here.
Well, you see Cates' numbers from last year, over 1,200 yards rushing. This year, in 3 of the 4 games he's played, Cates has been held to less than 40 yards on the ground. So you see Durant in the offense trying to get him involved early today.
Jerron Walker. Bo Smith finally bringing him down, but a first down.
Jerron Walker, sometimes a bit of a forgotten man in this receiving corps. He lines up as the outside man in this formation, working against the corner, Bo Smith. It's kind of a, I'd call it a quick slant, more of a slow slant to the inside, just sits down in front of coverage.
Here's the pitch now to Cates. Has the edge, and the burst forward, close to the sticks. A big number for Wes Cates last year, too, in what was an all-star season. 14 as in touchdowns.
Yeah, Cates he had a magical season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders last year, and really in the early going, we mentioned the injury issues that they've had this year, how those date back to 2008. Cates was the guy who really put this team on his shoulders and carried them. This year, well, maybe that wore out those shoulders. One of them was sore to start the year. He missed the first couple of weeks.
Durant takes it himself. There's a penalty flag down, but easily attains the first down. Little bootleg play action from the Saskatchewan quarterback. Here comes the call.
Procedure, Saskatchewan. Illegal formation, no end. 5-yard penalty, remaining second down.
So that one's going to negate a big gain. Looked like Chris Getzlaff was scrambling, trying to get into position here to line up as the end, to be the end man on the line of scrimmage in this formation. Because he arrived late, the result is that illegal formation call. You have to have 7 men on the line.
In the pocket, he fires and cannot connect that time. So the Riders on the final play of the first quarter, they'll change sides and they'll have to kick it away. They get the wind. They have the lead. Well, take a look at the two ledgers. Numbers heavily favor the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Stats brought to you by Tim Hortons always fresh, always.
Well, yeah, Rod, as you said, you look at it, and a statistically dominant first quarter for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Frankly, the Hamilton Tiger Cats are fortunate to only be down by 10, given that they've effectively done nothing. But when you look at it, it comes down to details. The Hamilton Tiger Cats allowed a touchdown because they continued the drive with an offside penalty, a lack of focus in terms of where Justin Hickman lined up or being aware of when the ball is snapped. A couple times we've seen them lose contain on quarterback Darian Durant here. So it's just details in terms of focusing on your assignments and timing and so on. But that has made a big, big difference in the first 15 minutes of this ball game.
Boot this away from near his 35. And look at this kick. What a difference the wind makes. McDaniel trying to find the outside. And now in a load of trouble. So not good field position here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Good cover by the Saskatchewan special team. Well, tomorrow night, TSN2 brings you NFL preseason action. Carolina Panthers take on Eli Manning and the New York Giants. Live coverage, TSN2, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. You heard anything about Jamal Lee?
Well, the latest from Jamal Lee was that he was labeled as a bit of a training camp star, but you know, it's a long training camp down there, and this will be a great opportunity for the fans up in Canada to get a look at one of our own.
Jamal Lee, a BC Lion pick. Now with the Panthers, Kevin Glenn is in the ballgame. The former Saskatchewan Roughrider and Winnipeg Blue Bomber, Quentin Porter, ineffective. So Kevin Glenn, in many ways, Glenn and Porter are a very good complement to each other because they are polar opposites.
Yeah, well, they sure are. Quentin Porter is...
Procedure. Hamilton, number 52. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Quentin Porter is a guy who, in spite of what you would think, looking at the two of them, Porter the one more likely to run with the football. Glenn, by virtue of his experience, the guy who'll stand back there, make his reads quickly, and get rid of the football. But a big thing Kevin Glenn brings here, having played his whole career in Regina and Winnipeg to this point, dealing with bad weather conditions, maybe a little more equipped than Porter in that regard.
Glenn begins the second quarter. Little pump fake. And the catch made by Chris Davis. Came in as the leading yardage receiver for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Things didn't necessarily open up the way Kevin Glenn anticipated initially here. You saw a pump fake as to what he was hoping. When he was hoping to be able to throw the ball, had to hold on to it a second longer. Waiting for Davis to get his head around, apparently.
Kevin Glenn, of course, spent a lot of years in Regina as a Rough Rider. To a few games and went to Winnipeg. There's a wobbler and almost picked off. Donovan Alexander, the Winnipeg-born cornerback, almost had his first interception.
We talk about the timing and details being an issue in this ball game so far. The timing of that Saskatchewan punt, of course, comes on their first play of the game with the win. Jamie Borum gets a good punt. A good cover from that punt unit. Big stand by the defense.
Marcel Belfay with a quick hook in this ball game, taking Quentin Porter out. Porter watching now. Tiger Cats have looked awfully good this season, but early in this ball game they looked a lot like the Cats we saw last season.
Well, they did. They have yet to get a first down offensively. Quentin Porter just one completion before getting the hook.
Again, Alec Morris. Sandy Beveridge with the special teams tackle. Let's go down to the sideline once again and join Ray.
Yeah, the hook came out because of it was performance related here, guys, with regards to Quentin Porter. Just not moving the football. Seems very dejected here in the sidelines. Kahari Jones, the quarterback's coach, is spending time with Kevin Glenn and the other quarterbacks here. So certainly this was not the start that Quentin Porter was looking for.
No, Quentin Porter, and he is a guy that, you know, doesn't exactly exude confidence. He's a quiet, he's not a guy with a lot of swagger. He is very confident.
Yeah, he definitely is. I don't think Quentin Porter's hanging his head over there.
Jerron Walker is driven to the ground by Jeff Tisdale. So kind of funny, Ken Miller is the guy who has that short leash on his quarterbacks. It's a former Saskatchewan assistant coach, now head coach, who has a short leash on his quarterbacks tonight.
Well, Marcel Belfoy has said from the start of the season that both quarterbacks are going to play, and in this league you need two quarterbacks to be successful. Sometimes if one guy's not going, you rely on the other one. That's the direction they've gone here.
Second down, 4 yards to go. Durant again, and he takes off again. First down, and some more. Big gainer from Double D.
Durant has been outstanding here tonight, using his legs to make some things happen. But it's just, again, you talk about those details defensively. You have to be aware of what your rush lanes are as you come up the field. Durant steps up, the whole defensive line has been washed to one side. That leaves a huge lane once Durant decides he's going to take off.
Just turned 27 years old, Darian Durant. A year ago, he's a third-string quarterback. A few weeks later, the starting quarterback is in trouble here, lets it go. And once again, it's Claremont. A little spin now. Jason Claremont, straight arm.
Welcome back, Jason Claremont. Where have you been?
I guess, too, an amazing thing can happen when you start getting the football a lot more.
Exactly. Jason Claremont showing he can still get it done. But this starts at the line of scrimmage. Watch the left guard, Gene Mikowski. He's got to pop all the way from left guard out to the right end to pick up Markeith Knowlton. But good recognition, good awareness, execution, getting out there. Again, those details make a big play for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Dressler has running room. Weston Dressler to the 15. Close to moving the sticks again. The Riders are employing a lot of motion in the backfield, using their slots and their receivers in handoff situations, and they do it again here.
Yeah, nice creativity here. Watch for Jerron Walker coming the other way, number 80. He faked that he was going to take the reverse from Dressler. That kept the Tiger Cats from pursuing too hard to the front side of the play with Dressler.
Weston Dressler from Bismarck, North Dakota. Played at UND, star there, and has become a star in the Canadian Football League. Rookie of the Year, 2008. Stu Ford. The Stews come out. First down. Local boys are doing it right now on this drive.
Well, local boy did a big thing. Watch for Jason Claremont. He's going to come from the right end here. He pins the defensive end to the inside, working with the tackle, Joel Bell. Big block by the receiver. That helps to create the lane for Stu Ford to turn it up.
First and goal. Play action again. In trouble. Durant avoids it. Looking for a receiver. There's a penalty flag on the goal line. Maybe some sort of hold or interference call. Have to see what Kim Murphy comes up with here. Durant could not find a receiver, and it will go against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Hamilton, number 35. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Otis Floyd.
Yeah, and you're going to see Floyd in coverage. He's working against the running back, Stu Ford, who's on his way out to the flat here. Floyd, afraid that he thought the ball was on its way, dove in to make a play on Ford. But because the ball was not thrown, that Otis is a penalty.
Cats made a last-minute substitution, just got on the line of scrimmage. First and goal again. And into the scrum goes Stu Ford to try to rip the football. He's still on his feet. Somebody down there lost their lid. Gene Mikowski. Stephen Giles coming into the ball game. And there's a challenge flag the far side of the field, Marcel Belfait. I guess he's feeling that maybe the ball was taken away, ripped away. And there might have been a fumble. I'll have to see what this is all about.
Well, the ball ended up with a Ticats player at the very end of that scrum. The question is whether or not the play was blown dead prior to that time.
I think if you listen in, though, if you listen in too, I think the whistle had blown. Ford is not down. Devontae Bolden is in there. You can see them trying to wrestle, and the ball comes loose. The ball indeed comes loose.
Hamilton is challenging the ruling on the field of a player down by contact.
And from that replay, doesn't look like Ford had a knee down. Again, they'll go back to the command center, and Jake Ireland will make a decision on this based on the replays. Now there's a player underneath Stu Ford. Here it is again. And here comes the ball right here.
That's where the ball is free. Tisdale ends up with the ball. Well, Ford didn't actually touch the field. He did have a defender underneath him who was down.
And again, the play seemed to go on for a couple more seconds. It looked like, you know, the momentum of the player right here is stopped as well. It looks like everybody's in on the play.
Yeah, it's less of an issue of his forward momentum being stopped unless they whistled it dead because of that momentum, and it's tough to say exactly when in all of that the whistle was blown.
Yeah, and that's another factor, right? If they feel that momentum was stopped. Here comes Kim Murphy.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
And there might have been a whistle in there as well.
Yeah, but you know, we usually look at a player, any part of his body other than his hand or feet touching the field as to that player being down, and then somebody else touching him to down him by contact.
Stephen Giles in again. Twin tights. Giles himself, touchdown. The Riders so far are making it look easy here against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, they sure are, and a couple of big plays have made the difference. That drive, a scramble by Darian Durant, sets the table. Steve Giles comes in to finish things off. Quarterback keep goes around the edge. He's a yard into that end zone before a Tiger Cat defender even gets a hand on him.
Quite a platoon system they operate here with Giles on the short yardage play and Darian Durant driving the field. But how about the play on that drive of the local guys, Stu Ford and Jason Claremont. Claremont's had a breakout game for the Riders so far. And a big lead for Saskatchewan. 19-zip, second quarter. Stephen Giles, first quarterback, keeper of the season for a touchdown for him. 19-0 Saskatchewan. Just taking it to the Ticats so far. Cats give up a safety, give the ball back, and then give up a touchdown on another impressive drive engineered by Darian Durant. Marquis McDaniel watches it bounce into the end zone and add another point to the score here. It'll be 20-0.
We're just going to go back and take a look at the touchdown. The guy who's had a pretty good day as a defensive player playing offense today, the right tight end on this play is D tackle Keith Sholigan. Watch him drive his man back, pin him to the inside. That's Justin Hickman, the defensive end. He knocks him a yard off the ball. Well, guess who Stephen Giles is running in behind? Great job by Sholigan doing whatever he's been asked to do to help his team win.
And again, that Saskatchewan D-line rocked by the news of the retirement of Scott Schultz suddenly. Sholigan stepped in. Touchdown already. Big block there. Tiger Cats trying to get unraveled here. So far, their running game has been non-existent. Their passing game has been non-existent.
Well, each quarterback has completed just one pass. Porter 1 for 5, Glenn 1 for 2. And on the ground game, two carries, just a couple carries for DeAndre Cobb, yet to break one out of the backfield.
Glenn, here's the rush. Kevin Glenn in trouble, swarmed, dropped. John Chick again.
The Riders are on fire here. Swarming the Hamilton Tiger Cats. John Chick is the right defensive end in the middle of your screen. He's working against the left tackle, Alex Gauthier. Biggest thing for Chick on that play was just he kept the motor running. Gauthier had position on him, but as Glenn stepped up, Chick kept the eyes on him and kept working to stay in it.
And it's dropped. Hamilton has the football. Nate Hurd dropped the ball on the punt, and Hamilton gets its first break of the game thanks to Lawrence Gordon.
And a miscue by the return man, Nate Hurd, on this play allows an opportunity for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, their first break of the game. Hurd, as the ball's on the ground, is reaching down, thinking about running. He's got to just dive and cover up that ball and prevent the turnover. Good hustle by Lawrence Gordon. He dives on it, he wins the battle.
And knocked down on another big defensive play. You said the words fired up. This defense for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they come from you from a variety of different angles, and it's right now creating a lot of havoc for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, it sure is. And this one, Marcus Adams gets a hand up in the passing lane to deflect this football. The Hamilton Tiger Cats through the air at this point combined 2 for 8 for 8 yards.
That's hard to believe. And now another 2nd and 10. 6 receiver set. Here's the rush. Glenn throws it down the sideline. And it's almost picked off by Omar Morgan. Turning to the lineup, Omar Morgan, and he's going to do a couple of push-ups. That's what happens when you miss one that you thought you should have had.
This throw was clearly affected by the pressure. You see Stevie Baggs and John Chick getting there. Chick delivers the hit as the ball is thrown. Seems like we say this game after game. Pressure creates throwing errors.
Look at this. Hamilton Tiger Cats are going for it. Down 20-0. 3rd and 10. Glenn standing in to DeAndre Cobb, one-on-one. Here come the Riders. Stopped and turned over again. What a defensive display so far. Stevie Baggs in on the play and a bunch of guys in green.
Yeah, Stevie Baggs, as he's done all season, leads the charge. But it is a 12-man unit working together here that creates this play. Coverage downfield means it's Kevin Glenn's worst nightmare in 3rd and 10. He's got to go to option 5, his check down route. The running back who's catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Saskatchewan dominated that play as they have dominated this football game.
Another turnover, this time on downs. It's all Roughriders right now. Wes Cates continues the onslaught here.
Wes Cates has been a big factor in this ball game. This has been his biggest run, but the fact that he has been productive on each and every carry has been significant in terms of getting other things going in their offense. Hamilton defensively completely off balance. Cates gets a couple of good blocks, also runs through the arm tackle of Darrell Adams. For a big gain, Saskatchewan has got all the momentum here.
slow him down a bit. Time for Durant going deep. Looking for Teron Walker. A little bump on the sideline, but no penalty call. Walker and Bo Smith collided.
Good coverage on this play by the short side corner. Bo Smith up in press. Gets his hands on at the line of scrimmage. Does a nice job running with Walker. Gets his head around. That's the way you draw it up defensively. The Cats just need a little bit more of that from all 12 guys.
To go before halftime. 2nd and 10. Far side. Rob Bagg has it. But a good play by Lawrence Gordon to hold him back from a first down. Rob Bagg coming off his breakout game a week ago against the BC Lions. His first 2 CFL touchdowns.
Yeah, the Queens product, Rob Bagg. 5 catches for 120 yards to go along with those 2 touchdowns last week. This is a guy who has really stepped up for this team. Going back to about the middle of last year when he started to get a bit of an opportunity, he has quietly emerged as the 2nd leading receiver behind Weston Dressler in this Riders offense.
Bagg stays in to hold for Luka Conji. And again, with the big breeze at his back, this will come from the 51. Conji's longest this season, 41 yards.
They have a man lined up onside here as well, to deal with the wind.
And coming out of the end zone, Marquet McDaniel brings it to the 13-yard line. The CFL on TSN tonight is brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. This is our beer. 4:24 left before halftime. In a first half that has been completely dominated by Ken Miller's Saskatchewan Roughriders in every possible facet.
It sure has, and one of those facets in which they have dominated, likely the most important in terms of what the score is overall here today, has been execution.
Hamilton still hasn't achieved a first down. There's the rush. DeAndre Cobb now. Just over half the first down yardage. DeAndre Cobb has had a couple of huge games against the BC Lions. A good game last week against the Edmonton Eskimos, and a lot of his yardage really accumulated through one big play late in the game.
Yeah, last week Cobb finished with 75 yards on the ground. 40 of that came late in the game, but this is the type of player that Cobb is. If he gets enough opportunities, eventually he's one of those guys who can pop a big one.
2nd and 4. Will they get a first down? Wobbler. No, they won't. Again, Dave Stala, but again, those long arms from that front line in the face of Kevin Glenn, and also maybe a wet football here. Let's see. There's the long arm there, but Dave Stala can't come down with it. It's not going well so far for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. This is a good kick against the wind. And Morris is dragged down by Ray Marius with 3:12 remaining in the 2nd quarter.
Yet again, with this dominant performance by their defense, Saskatchewan, the wind at their backs, are going to start another drive with less than half the field to go.
You saw them drawing that football. Interesting that Ken Miller this week actually had his quarterbacks practice with a wet football in dry conditions. They dampened the footballs here, and they knew that the forecast called for rain.
Yeah, Ken Miller put his trust in the weatherman. That looks like it's paying off for him so far in terms of that preparation.
8 for 12 is Durant. He's throwing again. Here comes the rush. Durant lets it go, and should have been picked off. Jeff Tisdale had it in his paws. 3-minute warning. 20-0 Saskatchewan.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats almost caught a break on that last play. Saskatchewan QB Darian Durant scrambling, trying to buy time. A little bit of a blind throw, looking in the direction of Chris Zarka and Jason Claremont. What he found was Jeff Tisdale. Tisdale There's a couple of picks this year for the Ticats, unable to put the squeeze on that one.
This Ticat defense has been very good so far this season, but Darian Durant has been better than they have been so far, and doing a lot of this, rolling out. Here's the rush from Bolden and thrown out of bounds, looking again for Jerron Walker. So Jamie Borum will come up and punt this ball back to the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
For the Tiger Cat defense, that was a big stand late here in the first half. Just need to see if their offense can find a way to deal with this wind and rain.
And the Saskatchewan defense, which has
been presented the biggest storm for them here today.
You got that right. So far, 2:33 to go. Still no first downs in this game yet from the Hamilton offense. Borum again with the wind. End over ender. Arcane McDaniel. And James Patrick brings him down. There's a penalty flag at the 12-yard line. All the boys in the studio standing by. Rona at the half. TSN panel. There they are. Randorf, Dunnigan, Schultze, and Milt. We'll talk, obviously, about what has been a complete Saskatchewan performance so far.
We've got Milt in the studio today. You realize Stevie Baggs said yesterday he feels Milt is jealous of him.
Do you want to follow that up? And why?
Well, we'll get back to that in just a minute.
Stevie Baggs on that right edge, number 90. Kevin Glenn still 0-4. Glenn and the Cats trying to get a first down. Second down now. There's Baggs.
Yeah, it's Stevie Baggs and Milt Stegall. Both live in Atlanta in the offseason, former teammates in Winnipeg. We've heard Milt in the past picking on Stevie because, well, he's a little pigeon-toed. But Stevie says it all stems back to a few years ago in Winnipeg when a young lady told Milt Stegall that once Stevie Baggs arrived, Milt was no longer the best-looking man on the Blue Balls.
Oh, boy, that one hurts. Milt's rebuttal still to come in 2 minutes. Glenn running again, and again, nothing.
Just off the mark on every pass thrown here today for both Hamilton quarterbacks.
Looking for Prichet Rodriguez for the first time. In the previous play, that was the first time they went to Arlan Bruce. And right now, Marcel Belfait has no answers.
Well, this is going to be a big test of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. One of the big things that they have established here in 2009 is a winning attitude, a never give up attitude, and forgetting about some of the things that have happened in the past, i.e. losing seasons, letting ball games get away from them.
Seta will kick this one. Doesn't want to give up any more points. Morris tripped up. But with 2 minutes to go, Saskatchewan is still already in field goal position, again with this wind.
Well, you mentioned that wind, and that has been a big part of the struggles of the Hamilton Tiger Cat passing game. The wind, the wet footballs, and of course, the pressure from the Saskatchewan defense. But we've just seen a disproportionate number of poorly thrown balls from the Ticat quarterbacks here today, just struggling to deal with that combination of conditions and pressure.
Well, they'll have to make some serious adjustments at halftime, or this could be a very, very lopsided game, as if it isn't now. Oh, Walker dancing. 9 yards on the play. Little quick hitter from Darian Durant. You have to be impressed with Darian Durant has done as well. Guy who's thrown 9 touchdowns this season. It's very good numbers, Darian Durant, but again last week in BC, Ken Miller, no hesitation to go to Stephen Giles. No hesitation at any time if he sees one of his quarterbacks are struggling. And he was 10 for 19. Those 2 picks. Wes Cates carries the nail. And a couple of big hits in there. This will all depend on the spot in terms of the first down. It is a first down. the Saskatchewan Roughriders have their quarterbacks at a high percentage, and Wes Cates a factor. They are a tough team to stop defensively.
And don't think for a second that Wes Cates' productivity here today on the ground hasn't made a difference in what they've been able to do through the air.
Aerial again. There's trouble though from behind. They can't catch him. And he fumbled. But the Saskatchewan Roughriders got it back. And shoeless Darian Durant blows a tire, fumbles. Mark Brento still gets it back.
Once again, the theme of this ball game defensively for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they lose contain. This time, Matt Kirk takes his turn as the culprit, comes too far inside on his rush lane, doesn't force Durant to stay inside. He gets around the edge, even in with one shoe on, turns it into a big gain.
Everything going right for the Riders. Stephen Giles in. Durant tries to put his shoe on. Giles over the middle. Catch by Claremont. Jason Claremont down to the 5-yard line. And finally, Saskatchewan football fans are getting to see what their local boy has been able to do in BC for so many years.
Yeah, Jason Claremont, this is what he's been waiting for through the first 6 weeks of the season. Back in a big way here today for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Claremont, 9 catches through the first 6 games of the season. 4 catches already here tonight for 66 yards. And another first down. And a chance for Durant back in the ball game to add some more points. Throws it deep and throws it away. 10 seconds to go before halftime.
Great decision by Darian Durant under pressure to get rid of that football, particularly in scoring position like this. Better to preserve field position, preserve possession, than try to force a play that's not there. And there you see the maturation of this young quarterback.
Second down. Might be able to get one more play if they can't punch it in here. Durant, look at the time he's got. Look at the time. End zone. And overthrew Dressler and still has 3 seconds left on the clock. And it looks like Luka Conji's making his way to the field, and they will attempt a field goal.
Yeah, and you see the disappointment on Darian Durant's face. He had great protection on both those plays. The offensive line doing a terrific job up front, but no one able to get open on the back end. Credit the Hamilton Tiger Cats coverage with a big stop there as they force the Riders into a field goal situation.
Should be the final play of a very green first half. Conji puts it through. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders are putting it to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. No first downs for the Cats in the first half. 23-0 Riders.
Live at the Half is brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right since 1939.
23-0 Saskatchewan, and it started with this touchdown here to the defensive lineman, Keith Sholigan. What a moment for him, his first career touchdown from Rochester, Alberta. What a great moment. All the teammates rallied around him. The emotion was all over his face. You know what? During the pregame show yesterday, we showed a very, very emotional and touching feature about how the entire Sholigan family used football to rally around a terrible family tragedy in which they lost Keith's younger sisters in a tragic car accident. I urge you to go to tsn.ca and watch the feature. I know that was a special moment for the Sholigan family, so congratulations to all of them. And again, thank you for sharing in that story that we aired yesterday. As for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, wow, they are not enjoying their trip to Regina today. Down 23-0. They don't have a first down. They went for it on 3rd and 10 at Saskatchewan's 40. I could go on and on and on. This is not the Hamilton Tiger Cats we've seen so far. Let's start with Saskatchewan. What about Darian Durant?
Well, he's played a really, really smart game. You've seen Darian Durant a couple times just throw the football away because he has now learned that it's more important that you save it to gain points than to try to thread the needle. But everything he's done has been about taking advantage of opportunity. And not all of it is in the passing game. 1,001, 1,002, nothing there. The pocket is collapsing. Take off. Make a positive play. His mental clock, that little thing in his head that says, man, I got to go because things are starting to break down in terms of protection. That is a sign of a maturing quarterback. He's got good speed. He runs with power. He's got that ability to gain yards, and he runs A to B. Very, very good first half for the quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Darian Durant.
Yeah, he's doing all the things right, making all the right decisions. It's good to see at home. They certainly play well. And they're happy to have on the defensive side of the ball John Chick back in the lineup. In week 4, he got hurt in Edmonton. And they like his presence on the football field because he's a heck of an athlete. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, and he makes plays. He's got a great motor like everybody on that defensive line. And you see him right here. He's right in the end man of the line of scrimmage. And watch this. He forces the entire play here by himself. He gets up in the quarterback. Quarterback's there a little nonchalant with the football, holding it with one hand. Chick says, thank you very much. I'll take it. And here he is right here. You see him in his spin move. And this is an effort play. He just continues to drive his man back. He takes 315 pounds, pushes him with his right arm, says, get out of my face. Here he is here. Talk about the motor right here. Watch. He's going to get cut right here. Bang. Pops back up, shows you his athletic speed, and puts a lick on Kevin Glenn for the pulled Quentin Porter. John Chick has got a great motor, and they're happy to have him back in that lineup. And we could be watching another shutout.
Another shutout.
Another shutout? 2 shutouts in 2 weeks in the CFL? I don't know.
Well, maybe John Chick is the reason why they have 12 yards passing in the first half.
Man.
Ooh, that's ugly. Huh?
That is ugly.
And they pulled Quentin Porter, and they had to. You know, you're 1 for 5 for what, 4 or 5 yards, and you got to make a difference. And everybody may say, well, the weather is bad, he's struggling, he can't feel the ball, but Saskatchewan's doing well with this bad weather. So what you're going to do? Hey. Right now, you look at these plays, and he's just not in sync with anybody. The receivers aren't running the right routes. He's throwing the ball into the ground. Nobody's doing what needs to be done. So they put in Kevin Glenn, and he does the same thing. So what do you do when it comes to the second half? You got to make a move. Do you put Mr. Porter back in? Do you put Kevin Glenn? Right now, I don't know what they're going to do. But Quentin Porter was really struggling, so they had to make a move and put Kevin Glenn in right now. But right now, I don't know what they're going to think. If you ask me, I think they're going to put Quentin back in and give him a chance because Kevin didn't do anything that first half.
And I don't know if it was Kevin's fault they didn't convert on 3rd and 10, but that was a bizarre call, don't you think? With the wind in their face, 3rd and 10 at Saskatchewan's 39 when you need some points.
I guess they felt they had to regain some type of momentum. And that play that was called, Kevin was looking downfield, but Saskatchewan defense came up with a great play when he had to dump it off to the running back.
That's not what you said when we were watching TV in here.
That's what I said, Kevin. That's what I said.
Most of the time, offensive coordinators don't have a play for 2nd and 10, let alone 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
But, Quentin Porter hurt his thumb in training camp, guys, and he wasn't the same quarterback we saw last year, first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. And it looks like to me that thumb is coming into play. He had the wet ball on top of it, and it doesn't look like he's able to squeeze that football because it's coming out all over the place, and he's not accurate at all, Schultz.
I'm really surprised as a football team how poorly Hamilton is playing. And, you always say as any pregame speeches or any things that coaches can say, it's also time when players stand up and they say, guys, we got to get our act together and come out with a different level of intensity. You've seen it before in the Canadian Football League where teams come out in the second half and they play much better. It really is important that Hamilton comes back and shows some character because they have not had a good first half.
By the way, one note in regards to BC Lions starting quarterback Buck Pierce. He will not play next week in the game against Winnipeg. That will go to Jarius Jackson. He was knocked out with what appears to be a concussion on a Friday night against the Argos. It is the 5th time in the last 11 months that Buck Pierce has suffered a head injury, and so they are going to give him some time to rest up. It's 23-0 Saskatchewan all over Hamilton right now.
If you don't have green in your wardrobe, you're likely not from here. You don't think this guy's excited? Keith Sholigan, his first CFL touchdown.
Welcome back, Jason Claremont. Where have you been?
The Riders so far making it look easy here.
Welcome back. Here are your halftime numbers, brought to you as always by Tim Hortons Always Fresh. Milt?
Wow, do my eyes deceive me? Do you see this? Minus 11 net yards. 2 turnovers, that's a positive. They only have 1 turnover on the other side, and 13 passing and 4 rushing. Hey, what can you do? God bless them. Yeah,
a first half to forget for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Ken Miller's team up by 23. He just spoke with our Ray Morrison.
Ironically, it's the worst day weather-wise for the Saskatchewan Roughriders this season, yet your quarterback has turned in maybe his best performance of the year.
Well, he's playing well, and particularly well in the first quarter when we were able to move the ball into the wind.
What about your team speed on defense? You talked about Hamilton's speed on offense, how you had to counter that, and it seems you would have to be fairly impressed with the defensive side. Can you give me a word on that?
Well, our defense is playing really well right now, and we're really pleased with that.
Any second half adjustments you can see that your team's going to have to make?
Well, we just need to stay on them now. We need to continue to play well and play a great second half.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
TSN, exclusive broadcaster of the CFL, proud home of the Grey Cup. Back at Mosaic Stadium, where the Saskatchewan Roughriders own a 23-0 lead against Marcel Belfay's Hamilton Tiger Cats. Here's Ray Morrison with the head coach of the Cats.
Marcel, talk to me about that first half. What went wrong, and what did you say to your team, and adjustments that have to be made?
Well, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. You know, we had a tough time handling the football, throwing it, catching it. Obviously, we didn't have any first downs, so our defense was on the field a long time. We did a good job in coverage, but we got to keep their quarterback in the pocket.
Any sort of idea as to how you're going to go against this Rough Rider defense, which has shown an amazing amount of speed here?
Well, we have to execute, and we didn't do that. We have to throw and catch and block, and we didn't do the little things.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
So the Cats with no first downs, as their head coach lamented, and Quinton Porter apparently will come back in this ball game, although doesn't have his helmet on. I saw Adam Tafralis, the third-string quarterback, warming up as well. Kevin Glenn, the backup, also had his troubles. We'll see in a moment. Arland Bruce, his first touch of the game. Former Argo brings it to the 38-yard line. Kevin Glenn will return to the ball game.
And Hamilton desperately needs to get something going right from the start here. Kevin Glenn, perhaps part of the reason he's in this situation. Veteran leadership, a guy who's been through it all. That's part of the reason they brought him to Hamilton. Guys like Glenn, Alex Gauthier, Dan Goodspeed on this offensive unit. This is the time for those guys to step up and lead by example.
Play action. Downfield vertical. And coming back for the first down for the Tiger Cats. In over 30 minutes, Chris Davis. And it's the first time that the Cats have gone deep.
First time they've gone deep, and it's the first time they've thrown the football effectively. Good protection up front. Kevin Glenn airs this one out. Chris Davis does a nice job coming back to the football to make a play for his QB. First down with an exclamation point for the Ticats. Let's see if they can build on it.
Davis hauls in a pass that looked like a wounded duck, but it doesn't matter. It works. Cobb fumbled. And it looks like it's still Hamilton football. Very lucky to retain that.
Well, right now, the Hamilton Tiger Cats making the game look difficult. Keith Sholigan continues his big evening here in Regina. He was the man who knocked the ball loose. Cobb does was fortunate, frankly, to come up with that
one. Second down. Glenn again. And almost picked off. Going high, elevating for it was Davis again, but so the Cats achieve a first down for the first time in the ball game, but that's it. They can't advance it any further. And this is in definite field goal range for Nick Setta. The Tiger Cats have the wind in this third quarter.
Well, that was a big decision by the Tiger Cats. They won the toss and elected to defer to the second half. Being in a hole here, they're trying to get those points right away. Never mind saving the win for the fourth quarter.
41-yarder. There is the kick through the smoke. And the Cats are finally on the board. finally something to cheer for the Hamilton head coach. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sport. Under the lights, mostly because of these very cloudy skies. Dark, late afternoon in Regina, Saskatchewan. Tiger Cats finally hit the scoreboard.
Let's go, Bo!
Eric Morris handling the kickoff from Nick Seta after the field goal. Morris knocked out of bounds, and there is a marker right near the 20-yard line. How about halftime adjustments? Hamilton Tiger Cats have a number of adjustments to make.
Yeah, they do, but I think the biggest one has to do with that Hamilton defense. For them, they've got to keep contained defensively, and what that means is that particularly their defensive ends, outside linebackers, need to keep Darian Durant in the pocket, not let him get to the outside, because that's where he's hurt them. For Saskatchewan, you heard head coach Ken Miller tell us at halftime, the biggest thing is stay the course, stay focused. We saw this team get off to a great start in BC last weekend, let the game get away from them. Here, they've got to make sure that they keep doing the things that have gotten them to this point.
Looks like a penalty coming against Hamilton.
On a kickoff. Hamilton, number 20, a 10-yard penalty applied from the kickoff. Re-kick.
Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan's Dylan Barker in on the special team play. Number 1 pick last year by the Tiger Cats is flagged for that. So they're going to bring out the kick team and the return teams again and do this all over. There's Dylan. Lost all of last season with a broken leg. Getting a chance to come home and play in front of friends and family.
Yeah, maybe a little over anxious on that kickoff. This being his first CFL game back in his home province.
Talked at the beginning of the game of the futility the Cats have had against the Roughriders. 10 games they have lost to Saskatchewan in a row dating back to 2003. Hamilton is also not won in Regina since 2000. So Seta sets it up. We'll do it again. Big kick again. Morris gathers steam to the 25. Oh, Smith with the tackle. Darian Durant and the Roughriders will set up shop right there.
And we just talked about our halftime adjustment, and I know Marcel Belfait told Ray Morrison the exact same thing, that contain defensively, the ability to keep Darian Durant in the pocket would be key to the Tiger Cats' success here in the second half. Let's see if the message got through.
Wes Cates in the backfield with Durant, but it's to the air again. Has Claremont. Just a little too high for Jason Claremont, who has been underutilized, as we talked about in the first half, over the first part of the season, but he's making up for it here tonight. Just couldn't come up with that football.
And Jason Claremont is the number 2 receiver, second man in from the sidelines. He's right on the hash marks, just sits down for a hook. Ball's a little high. Claremont unable to come down with it. There you see his numbers the last couple of seasons and projected for this year. You see how far off the pace he has been. Of course, his 08 numbers affected by injury.
Durant stays in, and he's sacked. Matt Kirk. First time today the Tiger Cats are able to get to the Saskatchewan pivot.
Yeah, we've seen them a couple of times get pressure, but they've taken bad angles, and Durant, he's been able to slip outside. This time we see Matt Kirk working against the right tackle, Joel Bell. Uses his hands well to get Bell off him and fight his way into the quarterback. Looks like the Hamilton defense maybe picking up on a little bit of that momentum from the opening drive score from the offense. The Tiger Cats look to turn the tide here.
Kick coming against the wind for Jamie Bourne. R.K. McDaniel back. Trying to use up a lot of that play clock. Saskatchewan trying to use up the clock here in this third quarter. They'll have the wind in the fourth. McDaniel dodges one. And good field position now for the Tiger Cats after a couple of good defensive plays and that sack. Well, Dwayne Ford, Wendy's Kick for $1 Million is back. Your chance to be one of 4 to go head-to-head to qualify for the live halftime show. You can enter at tsn.ca/Wendy's. Plus, upsize your Wendy's combo and get a game card to get bonus entries. And I know you're an upsizer. Look at all these things that you can win, including $1 million. Wendy's Kick for $1 Million has returned. Kevin Glenn, strong arm, looking for Arlen Bruce. He has it! Oh, what a catch!
Arlen Bruce.
A spectacular grab. Penalty flag. It won't matter. An interference call. The Ticats with a deep shot, and Arlen Bruce with his first touchdown as a Tiger Cat is one to remember.
Interference, Saskatchewan, number 15. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
What a catch. One hand, falling down. Doesn't matter. Touchdown, Arlen Bruce. The Tiger Cats have a little bit of life here coming out of the room.
Down 23 at the half. The lead now just 13. Deep shot. Kevin Glenn to Arlen Bruce. And the Cats are back. Arlen Bruce the third. 2 touchdowns this year, 1 for the Argos and now 1 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Over here. What is it, 10 to 23? We're down 13. Let's go, man. Defense gonna get us back in the, oh, okay.
That's why the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Bob Obilovich went out and got Arlen Bruce.
Tiger Cats needed a playmaker, and Arlen Bruce just delivered.
Every time.
Morris again. Sandy Beveridge in on the tackle, so too the local boy, Dylan Barker.
Suddenly there's a little bit of energy on that Hamilton Tiger Cat sideline. You see it in the special teams. Offense 2 for 2 in terms of putting points on the board in their first 2 possessions. We saw the defense come up with a big stop in their first appearance of the second half.
Mark Beswick looked like he got a little banged up. Now let's see how Darian Durant and the Roughriders respond to this little bit of adversity, the first they have faced in this ballgame. Wes Cates deep in the backfield. Fumble. Durant still has it and will throw it out of bounds, and there is no one over there. But wisely gets rid of it. Suddenly very quiet here at Mosaic Stadium.
The entire tide has turned. It makes you wonder if this field is somehow slanted. Seems like one team is always rolling, the other one's struggling to get anything going.
There was not a blemish in the first half performance from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Cats starting to turn up the volume here. Lob toss, looking for Claremont, and a 2-and-out for Durant and the Riders.
Oh, we just said the offense was 2 for 2 in terms of scoring on their possessions. The defense 2 for 2 in terms of producing those 2-and-outs, getting the ball back in the hands of Kevin Glenn and the Tiger Cat offense.
So Borum will let this go near his 15-yard line. And it looks like Hamilton will get good field position again, a chance to put more points on the board. The wobbler, one hopper to McDaniel, trying to find some blocks. McDaniel, a crease there. Penalty flag. 48-yard line. We'll check out the penalty in a moment. And a reminder, Wendy's Friday Night Football will be in Montreal next Friday. Saskatchewan Roughriders go to Montreal, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be in BC to play against the Lions. And the news in BC not good around Buck Pierce. News not good here right now with Stevie Baggs on the turf and in pain. The penalty against the Tiger Cats sends them back into their territory.
This would clearly be a big loss for the Saskatchewan defense. Stevie Baggs has been such an important part of what they've done here this season. So Stevie Baggs right in the middle of the screen, getting in on the tackle, number 90. His own teammate James Patrick fell across the back of his legs.
So Baggs in obvious pain. Let's go to the sideline once again. Here's Ray Morrison.
Some of the Rough Rider defensive coaches a little bit concerned about Hamilton putting back-to-back drives together for points. As far as the secondary is concerned, the coaching staff telling the Riders, if you're ever looking for a football, never look away from the receiver. Always look into the eyes of the receiver, and that'll tell you if or not a ball is coming your way. So the Rider coaching staff a little bit concerned about the momentum shifting away. And again, the crowd has, Dwayne mentioned, a little bit quiet here all of a sudden as well.
Baggs is up. Looks like he's all right. The Hamilton 50. Glenn shotgun. Looking backfield, then goes over the middle. Crichet Rodriguez with his first catch. And it comes here in the third quarter. Last year's Eastern Division nominee for Rookie of the Year. The Western Division nominee, Weston Dressler, who won the Rookie of the Year category. Both of those rookies from last year now sensational sophomores.
So you see the numbers. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, minus 11 yards in net offense in the first half. Over 100 here already in the third quarter.
Play action to Cobb. Glenn over the middle to Arland Bruce again. We should not be surprised that Arland Bruce might have a good game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He has been a big factor, has had huge impact when he was playing with the Argos against the Riders.
Yeah, he sure has. 9 career games against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Arland Bruce with 47 catches, 749 yards, and 6 touchdowns. You project that over an entire season of playing against Saskatchewan, Bruce had 1,500 receiving yards on the year.
Magnificent catch already here tonight. 2nd and 6. Glenn over the top again, and Chris Davis should have had that football, and that will bring out Seta again to try a field goal. But boy, oh boy, Chris Davis dropped this one. This was instant first down and maybe more.
Yeah, and you notice as you look around, Chris Davis on that one, the disappointment from Kevin Glenn was because he saw all that green turf in front of Chris Davis as well. He could have turned that one up for a big gain. It's one that hurts at a time when you're taking over the momentum of the ballgame.
Coming from the 43-yard line, Seta puts it up, and he puts it through. And the lead is now 10. This is the template for the season so far for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Saskatchewan Roughriders in their third quarters. Kind of playing out here so far.
Well, it really has. Hamilton has been a good third quarter team. 50 points they have scored, outscoring their opponents 50-20 in the third quarter. Winnipeg dominated, Saskatchewan dominated in the third quarter of ball games. Just 7 third quarter points for the Riders so far this season.
Eric Morris straight ahead, downfield. Once again to make the tackles, Bo Smith. Eric Morris, Texas Tech. Getting a chance to return here. And Smith and the Cat defense will try to do some more of this damage that they've inflicted on Saskatchewan in this third quarter. And on their opposition this season. Tightening up in second halves. Durant behind center, Cates backfield. There's the pitch. Well, that's Stu Ford. Ford takes the ball on the pitch and muscles his way for 8 or 9 yards.
Nice misdirection play there by the Saskatchewan offense. Loading up with the receivers lined up to the left side of that formation. Created a little bit of motion in that direction, then pitching back to Ford to run it up inside to the right.
Second down, 4 yards to go. Quick hitter, Ford out of the backfield, and what a lick. Joaquin Bradley read that perfectly, and Stu Ford will limp to the sidelines after that hit.
Well, this is what you call getting hung out to dry. This ball is in a place where Ford can't see the hit coming. It was like it was in slow motion for everybody else in the building. You knew he was going to get drilled before he had a chance to even catch the ball.
So another 2 and out, 3 in a row to begin this second half from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We've had a huge role reversal in this ballgame. First half, it was all Saskatchewan. Momentum has turned in a big way. McDaniel hit hard. There's a fumble, but it was no yards. We've had a couple of sacks in this ball game, and here's our Purolator sack tally, brought to you by Purolator, where business is going. And the Montreal Alouettes, 21 sacks, 7 of those came in that win against the Toronto Argonauts, the shutout win.
Well, defensive line play has been such a big theme here this CFL season. Hamilton Ticats much improved in that department. It's not showing on those sack numbers so much. So we see that group getting some good pressure.
Saskatchewan, number 59, 5-yard penalty, first down.
I mean, a sack is a sack, but coaches like Greg Marshall and Marcel Belfay, you know, they don't have those numbers, but what they look at are hurries and the pressure, as was evidenced last week against the Edmonton Eskimos, and it paved the way to victory for the Tiger Cats. We're trying to claw back here. Len over the middle. And Preche Rodriguez, we'll see where the spot is. It looks like a favorable one. And they might be moving the sticks here. It looks like a first down. And indeed it is. You can see Stevie Baggs back in the ball game for Saskatchewan.
You see the Hamilton Tiger Cats here with the wind at their backs in the third quarter, looking to make hay while they have the advantage of that breeze.
Wind really starting to blow here again. Cobb has some running room. DeAndre Cobb splits the middle. And free safety James Patrick with the tackle. But DeAndre Cobb showing some of that flash that he showed last week against Edmonton and has shown this season against the BC Lions as well.
Yeah, and this is the thing that Cobb gives you, is you see his numbers from last week, basically held in check for those first 11 carries, none of them longer than 9 yards. But he's that guy who every time he touches the ball, there is that threat for him to take it a long way, and he finally did that on the last and most important carry of the game to set up the winning touchdown.
Len looking and over the middle, and looked like a bit of a broken route there as Arlan Bruce tried to catch up with the football. He's pleading for an interference call, will not get one.
And this one is pretty well defended by the Saskatchewan secondary. He tries to lead Bruce. You're going to see Bruce come into the picture from right to left here. Glenn is just trying to lead him into a spot. But the Riders had that one well covered. Had Cornegay, one of the men in on that defense. Former Tiger Cat.
Big play for the Saskatchewan D now. 2nd and 10. Glenn football. And again, Nick Seta will be called upon to put 3 on the board. And a hard luck night for Chris Davis.
Yeah, that one would have been a tough catch, diving with a man right on him. But a time in the game, the Hamilton Tiger Cats need to make some plays here in this third quarter.
2 for 2. A sure-footed kicker. Nick Seta. Right down Main Street again. Now 23-16. That guy likes it. One guy. Here are a couple of interested Rider fans before the ball game. Really interested Ken Miller fans in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. On the left, Laverne Jessup, who was Ken Miller's former coach, the man who basically launched his coaching career. On the right, Steve Landers, who was the quarterback on the first team that Ken Miller ever coached, high school team in Vernonia, Oregon.
And they're here. Steve Landers getting a chance to see Ken Miller for the first time in 40 years. And they've been watching the games on television, watching the success that he's had with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they've become big CFL fans, so they've come a long way. Jessen coming from North Dakota, and again, Landers coming from northwestern Oregon. Right now, Ken Miller wants to give those fans something to cheer about, because in the first half, Darian Durant was outstanding. So were the Riders, offensively, defensively. But right now, he's running cold.
He sure is. 0 for his last 6 through the air.
4.5 to go, third quarter. 7-point ball game. West Cates.
And off to number 20, West Cates.
Saskatchewan should be leaning on West Cates a little bit here, both to try and slow down the pace of this football game. You always want to try and eat up as much time as you can when you're working against the wind, particularly when you have a lead in the ball game. But also just to work with some high percentage plays and not have to fight with that wind quite so much here.
Hamilton D has come out with some fire here. Durant over the top. There's a first down, Weston Dressler.
First down in the second half here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Nice one-handed grab by Dressler. Finally, they get a little bit of breathing room. Hamilton Tiger Cats have benefited from working on a short field offensively throughout the third quarter here. Saskatchewan finally able to get out from deep in their own end.
Durant, Dressler, and the Riders have been quiet here in the second half. And up the middle, Cates busts one for a first down.
We talked a lot in the first half about Jason Claremont having a real breakout game here as far as his 2009 season. I think the same can be said about Wes Cates. Cates had 99 yards on the ground against Calgary. It's been a very consistent, productive effort here tonight for the Rough Rider running back.
Augie Baranacheo with a tackle. Helped out by DeMonte Bolden. Into Hamilton territory. Back to Case. Justin Hickman tackled him by his ankles. Cates seeing a lot of football, as he did last season.
You see the effect that running the ball with Wes Cates is having on that Hamilton Tiger Cat defense a little bit. Suddenly the play gets a little bit more physical for their front seven. Wears them out a little bit more. Will also help out quarterback Darian Durant when the time does come to throw, as they won't be able to strictly defend the pass.
Quick hitter to the sideline. Unable to hang on, Jerron Walker.
It looked like the halfback, Jeff Tisdale, got a hand on that one to tip it away.
So Jamie Borum will come out. This is not in field goal range, especially against the breeze. Bourne will try to angle one and try to pin the Cats deep. 1:50 to go in the third quarter. That has seen the Tiger Cats bounce back after a horrendous first half where they did not get one first down. To get it beyond the 20, and it went out of bounds. So again, instant field position for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Well, the Rogers Cup men's tournament winding down in Montreal. Rogers Cup women's tennis begins tomorrow, live from Toronto. Early round action from the Rexall Center. Live coverage begins on TSN. Daily coverage 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Marcel Belfay marks out a couple of things. Incumbent on his Cats to put some more points on the board. Again, that will
illegal punt out of bounds.
Have to go against the wind in the fourth quarter.
10-yard penalty, repeat third down.
So they're going to make them kick again. And with this wind, this is probably a wise move.
Well, especially when you consider that they moved them back a little bit, and Borum has struggled every time he has had to punt this football into this wind. He gambled that it's going to be another weak punt.
She is blowing hard now. Wobbly again. 25 to the 30. Knocked out of bounds at the 32. And here comes the Hamilton offense again. Kevin Glenn, who took over from Quinton Porter early in this ball game. 8 of 18, 130 yards, and the touchdown to Arland Bruce.
And virtually all of the positives in those numbers coming here in the third quarter for Kevin Glenn.
There is line judge James Patterson to say Stala saying yes.
Enough doubt for the officials.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass.
They are saying a completed pass. It looked like maybe James Patterson didn't have the best angle at it, and indeed it's a catch.
Yeah, nice job there by Dave Stala. You're going to see him get his hands under it, but lift it to his body as he's going down.
Whistle here. And they will confer again.
Saskatchewan is challenging the ruling on the play of a completed pass.
Ken Miller right there. The challenge. Unless his spotters in the booth spotted something we did not. Let's take a look.
From this angle, you'll see that Dave Stala's hands are clearly underneath the football. The ball's not on the ground as he catches it. There's no scoop. From there, it looks secure. The one debate may be right here as to whether the ball does touch down at all, right there as Omar Morgan came up to make contact.
The ruling on the field stands.
Yeah, that's a quick one. Didn't take long. It was right in front of the Saskatchewan bench, but ruling will stand on the field, so it will be 2nd and 4 again. Final 30 seconds. Of the third quarter. Jarrell Freeman, who was inserted at linebacker. And again, the guy who couldn't bring that in, although the ball was thrown behind him, Chris Davis.
Yeah, that one well behind Chris Davis, and it's tough to adjust to that football when you're coming across the field full tilt trying to outrun coverage to try and get yourself turned around and get to that ball. You mentioned Jarrell Freeman in the game at middle linebacker now. The rookie regarded as a tremendous athlete. In there in part, I'm sure, for those coverage situations.
Hamilton has really struggled in second down conversions in this ball game. 0 for 13 on second down conversions for the Cats. Yeah, they get a first down on first down or nothing. 1 second to go here. Final play upcoming, barring penalty, of the third quarter. And then Saskatchewan will have the wind in the fourth.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats have done a good job with this win to carve this lead to really a one-possession ball game, down by 7 at this point. The test, of course, will be how they hold up once these teams change ends.
Cates making the tackle on the ground is Jamal Johnson. That's the third quarter. The Cats answer back here. 23-16 heading to the fourth.
TSN Mobile makes navigating through the latest sports news, scores, and stats easier and more user-friendly. TSN Mobile, tsn.ca, on the go, anywhere you go.
Looked like a rout at halftime. We got a ball game, folks, heading to the fourth. Our numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
The statistics overall still heavily favor the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but the key one to look at is that bottom line, the net yards in the third quarter. The Hamilton Tiger Cats were dominant, got themselves right back into this football game. Now it's all about what happens in the final 15 minutes.
Saskatchewan has the wind. However, the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense has proven all season that they get better as the game goes on.
Yeah, they have. When you look at Hamilton's numbers, in 5 out of 6 games this season, Hamilton has shut out the opposition in the fourth quarter.
And the one game they gave up 14 points against the BC Lions in the fourth quarter, they still won that game. We'll see how that plays out. Saskatchewan's offense needs to get on track, though. Durant up the middle. He's hit hard by Bradley. He makes it on. What a catch.
We'll take the hit. How about the catch?
Wow. Look at him. That is a collision and a half. Whoa.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is football.
Look at this. Rob bagged 2 touchdowns last week in BC. A huge catch right there. Durant sideline. Bag can't dive and make the catch. Rob Bagg, the Kingston native. What a story Rob Bagg is. Guy who was undrafted back in 2007, still came to Saskatchewan, basically made the team, decided to go back to school, came back last year. And look at all the guys who were drafted. Teammates, including Chris Bowen, Adam Nicholson. Bauman plays for Hamilton, is playing in this game. Nicholson, Getzlaff, all those guys who were drafted.
Rob Bagg emerging. Be one of the best among them all.
Durant wrapped up and sacked. Markeith Knowlton with the initial grab on Darian Durant. And here comes the kick team again.
And if this initial possession for Saskatchewan is any indication, the Hamilton Tiger Cats' trend of lockdown defense in the fourth quarter could well continue.
In the first half, Jamie Boren only saw the field for kickoffs and punts. Now in the second half. 5 times now. He's had to punt it away. It's blocked. It's blocked. Beswick will pick it up. Markeith Knowlton the block. Beswick brings has turned right around.
Oh, you could just see that one develop right from the line of scrimmage. The Cats brought a couple of extra bodies right up the middle of the protection here. They're going to split the upbacks. Great job. Both Knowlton and Augie Baranachea were in position here. Baranachea comes through that left A gap between the guard and center.
And now the Hamilton Tiger Cats go first and goal after a huge turnover and a chance to tie this ball game. Cobb up the middle, scores, touchdown. What a comeback.
How about these Hamilton Tiger Cats?
This is not the Hamilton Tiger Cat team we saw over the last couple of seasons. Had they been down 23-0 at the half, chances are it would have been a very lopsided result. This is a completely different ball team. This is a completely different ball game right now.
No doubt about it. Look around this team. The veterans that they have added and the attitude that they've instilled.
23 points in a row for Saskatchewan in the first half. 23 in a row for Hamilton in the second. A stunning turnaround initiated by the Hamilton Tiger Cats here in this second half. DeAndre Cobb, 5 touchdowns now on the season.
You got to get it. Oh, yeah, let's go.
And DeAndre Cobb and the Cats can thank their defense in many ways here in this second half.
Well, the defense has set them up in terms of field position, as did their special teams for that DeAndre Cobb touchdown. Big blocked kick. Well timed. Called by special teams coach Dave Easley.
Eric Morris goes outside, and there's a penalty flag. Let's take another look at DeAndre Cobb's latest highlight.
Yeah, and the guy I want to give props to on this play, the left tackle, Alex Gauthier. This is textbook as to how he executed double team. Starts off 2-on-1 with the fullback, John Williams, on Stevie Baggs. Bounces him upside, gets to second level on Sean Lucas, drives Lucas out of the way, makes things easy for his running back, DeAndre Cobb, to score.
Saskatchewan, number 60, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And there is one of the best left tackles in the business. Big Alex Gauthier, the #1 overall pick in the 2002 Canadian draft out of Laval.
Former Stampeder. Renegade. Winnipeg Blue Bomber, and now big part of the Cats line. Penalties against Saskatchewan. Sends them back, open on the far side. Bag, first down.
Great second effort there by Rob Bagg to fight off about 3 Cats defenders and make sure he gets that first down yardage.
He is the picture of perseverance, though. When you think, that things are going against you, all you have to do sometimes is work a little harder, get a break, and good things can happen, and that's what's happened to Rob Bagg.
Absolutely. A tremendous CIS career at Queens. Starting to deliver now at the next level.
Durant looking over the middle, has some running room left side. Looking for that first down marker. There is a penalty marker, and it's holding against Saskatchewan. Now we'll come back.
You have to believe that's what allowed Darian Durant to get around the edge. It was a hold from the left side.
Holding, Saskatchewan, number 63. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
This one goes against the left tackle, Bobby Harris, number 63. Working against the defensive end, Justin Hickman gets outside. You see him up around the collar. Basically wrestle Hickman to the ground. Tough to hide that one.
Durant from the backfield. 4. In on the tackle again, a bunch of Cats, but once again, Markeith Knowlton, who has had so far an all-star season. Was an East Division All-Star last year. Former BC Lion, traded last year on the eve of the draft, came from a winning organization to a team that had done a lot of losing. And told us yesterday it was a little tough to take last year.
Tough to take, but he's a guy who never hung his head, never worried. He had a lot of faith that things were going to get turned around here in Hamilton. A large part of that had to do with the general manager who brought him, Bob Bilbich.
Penalty flag, and I maybe want to count some players here. Looks like Hamilton came out with
13 white jerseys out there right now.
Too many players. And sheepishly going back to the sidelines, DeMonte Bolden.
Hamilton, 10-yard penalty, remaining second down.
And the Cats, no doubt, were trying to stall to try and get that 13th man off the field. They've been substituting here, putting a fourth linebacker, Augie Baranachia, in certain situations. And this is where guys have to make sure they're communicating with each other. Don't just assume the other guy sees you coming in.
Marcel Belfay trying to plead his case. Durant in protection, flushed out. Little toss to Stuford. First down in Saskatchewan.
First time in this half that the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense has lost that contain that we talked about. Darian Durant makes them pay. You see here the Cats come upfield. They all get caught inside. Baranachia is a long way upfield. Otis Floyd is on the inside there. That creates a lane for Durant to slip out to the outside a little bit and make a play.
Inside 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. 23-23. And up the gut. Otis Floyd and Keith Knowlton administering the hit on Stu Ford. The Saskatchewan Roughriders offensively can present a lot of looks, can't they?
Well, they sure can, and it just seems like whoever they substitute in there produces for them, and that's been the case for them offensively and defensively over the course of the last couple of years. A couple unsung heroes coming up big on this drive in Ford and Rob Bagg getting first downs.
Play action. Durant has lots of time. Here come the pass, though. Durant's in trouble, throws it, and he's hit just as he delivered the football right near the Saskatchewan sideline. And good coverage from the Hamilton secondary.
Well, and thank goodness that the Hamilton secondary did a good job in coverage, because up front they let Darian Durant get to that outside again.
And for the most part in the second half have done a nice job in contain. Not that time. So Jamie Bohr will have to kick this ball away a little quicker this time. R.K. McDaniel ready to retrieve. No rush. They set up the return. McDaniel to his 10. R.K. McDaniel on his feet. Chris Sarko with a big blow. 8:36 to go in the fourth quarter. In a tie ball game in Regina. A guy who used to call Regina home when he was an offensive assistant here, Marcel Belfay, took over last year from Charlie Taff as an interim, took the head coach official reins back last October. He is a coach. If you talk to the players, to a man, they all have a lot of respect. And they like their head coach. A lot to like about Marcel Belfay. Stevie bags the rush. Glenn delivers. John Williams drops. And Marcel Belfay has instilled a word into this team this year called trust. He uses it a lot. The players use it a lot. But he's also done some things and given the players incentives away from the field.
Yeah, he has. And one of those things, not something that he's dangling as a motivator, but just one of those things to show that he is treating them as people, allowing them with the bye week coming up to fly straight home from here in Regina. They don't necessarily all have to fly back to Toronto to get to their destinations from there after this game.
And second down here. Incomplete. No penalty penalty flag. Kevin Glenn and the Cats, if they have had a problem in this second half, it has been second down conversions. And so now Nick Seta, against this breeze, will kick it away.
Well, that was a situation where the Tiger Cats needed a couple of first downs just because of the field position. But 0 for 14 on second down conversions here could haunt them in this situation.
Almost blocked. Fluttering kick. Fielded by Morris. There was no penalty marker. The crowd wanted a no yards call, and they may have a point.
It was very close. The Tiger Cats player, I believe it was Bo Smith, recognized that the returner was creeping up.
Well, that looks like they encroached.
A couple of guys very close.
That's
certainly
not 5 yards.
Here, that appears to be less than 5-yard radius. The fact that he was retreating probably bought him some forgiveness from the official, or at least made it difficult to judge just how close he was.
John Walker goes wide side, top of your screen. Rob Bag short side. Wes Cates, the handoff. Cates spinning and looked like he might have been stopped at the line of scrimmage and got a few yards out of that.
And this is a fairly typical Wes Cates run. Not
appears to be someone out in the field here. A fan had actually walked out.
That was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
Walked out right in the middle of the Hamilton defense, and clearly he's had a few too many today. He's been ushered off to the sideline. That was like that guy, remember, in the NFL who came up and took the ball. That's what that looked like. Wondering where he came from. Just over 7 minutes remain in the fourth. Cates on a battle for that first down.
Another tremendous second effort there from Wes Cates. We'll see if it's enough here to move the chains.
Saskatchewan Roughriders, again, rarely do they lose 3 in a row at home. Rarely has a team given up a 23-point lead. Been so dominant at the half. Unable to score in the second half. Again, for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, it's a first down. They're trying to break a long losing streak against these Riders. Two entirely different halves. And now it's going to come down to a battle of field position. And it might be the last team that has the football wins this game. Far side again, the sure-handed bag. One-on-one. Dusts. Lawrence Gordon. Norton has to make the tackle.
What a move by Rob Bag. Nice shake and bake. Just one-on-one in the open field between Rob Bag and Lawrence Gordon. Bag gives him a little juke to the inside. Takes off outside. Another first down picked up by the Saskatchewan receiver.
Follows some blocking. Dressler outside to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Weston Dressler. What a play by the Riders.
Fantastic play and a fantastic drive for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Tell you, the Riders may have gotten away with one here. Watch Rob Bag on the outside. Take a look at that hand. Yanks the jersey of Lawrence Gordon to prevent him from pursuing to the outside. He stole that one.
And Otis Floyd couldn't catch up with Dressler, who scores his third touchdown. And the Rookie of the Year from last year brings the 13 Regina, 30-23. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona doing it right since 1939. Not sure if Rona has hot tubs in its stores, but that's quite the seat here. We've got quite a fourth quarter, quite a second half. Riders leading, Marquis McDaniel spun to the ground, 5:42 to go, loads of time still. And I have a feeling, I don't know about you, I didn't think we'd be to this point in this ball game after that first half.
No, the Hamilton Tiger Cats dialed it up in a big way in the third quarter, just when it looked like they had taken control of this whole thing. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, led by a couple of big plays from that young man, Rob Bagg, showed that there's no quit in them either. Gets congratulations there from his quarterback, Darian Durand. Recognizes a couple of big plays from him on that drive.
Marquis McDaniel is the injured Tiger Cat. First time the Cats have given up fourth quarter points in 5 games. But a lot of that also could be attributed to the field position that was given to them. It was given to Saskatchewan, and the Riders took advantage of it. A couple of big plays, and then finally Weston Dressler able to punch it in. So now it's time for Hamilton to see if they can respond offensively again. The guy who ignited them, got them going, was Arlan Bruce. Haven't heard much from him since he scored that touchdown in the third quarter. Protects the football.
We talked earlier about how that Saskatchewan defensive front will often angle one way or the other, and the whole group heads in one direction. That time the Tiger Cats were running right into the slant.
For 14 in second down situations in this half. The Tiger Cats. 0 for 15. Stevie Baggs. Sacks. Kevin Glenn.
Stevie Baggs. One of those guys who always plays with a lot of emotion, plays the game at a high tempo. Really having a breakout year after being a bit of a football nomad here in the CFL over the last few years.
Is that a little fishing thing you got going? Reeling in the quarterback. Ball's loose. Set is coming for it. But the Cats do recover. Morris, and again, excellent field position. And now this is where that wind is really in the favor of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, because Hamilton's inability on second down to move the football is really costing them here.
Hamilton, number 33. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That, as you said, the inability on second down, inability to drive the football consistently throughout this game against the wind. They did a great job in the third quarter with the wind at their backs, but when you're working against the wind, you can't rely on big plays to get it done. That's where you've got to chip away.
Huge drive for the Riders. Good chance here with 4:20 to go to get to the end zone and seal a victory. Cates dragged down from behind by Otis Floyd, but another first down, Saskatchewan.
If there are any questions about the condition of Wes Cates' shoulder, I would say that those questions have been answered here today. It's not just that Cates is picking up yards, but he's picking up those yards by running through tackles at the line of scrimmage.
First and 10 Riders on the Hamilton 15-yard line.
Hamilton D needs some stops. Zarka in motion, Cates backfield, pass it again, up the middle again.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders are utilizing Wes Cates in this ground game to eat up the time and wear down the Hamilton Tiger Cats D. Cates now with 15 carries for 99 yards. That matches his season high from a couple of weeks ago in Calgary. As I said off the top of this game, Wes Cates, through 4 games this year, he'd been held under 40 yards rushing in 3 of them. But this is a typical Wes Cates performance.
Cates again. Stood up. DeMonte Bolden, Justin Hickman. 3-minute warning. And the Riders 3 minutes away from ending a losing streak at home.
Little League World Series, Canada-Mexico, Saturday at 11 a.m. on TSN2.
Our game story tonight in Regina brought to you by Molson Canadian. This is our beer.
The biggest part of this story has been the tale of 2 halves for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They struggled miserably in the first, particularly on offense with minus 11 net yards. Stormed back to make a blowout into a ball game in the second. But with the help of Wes Cates, Saskatchewan is adding to their lead here in the 4th quarter.
Could be a real key field goal down the stretch. 2.5. And it becomes a 2-possession game. And a 10-point Saskatchewan lead. Luka Kanji.
The most important thing about that field goal, as you alluded to, Rod, is that it makes it a 2-possession ball game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Are down by 10. 2.5 minutes to go for an offense that has not moved the ball against the wind in either half here today.
Marcel Belfay looked like a man who was beaten down after that first half. His entire football club, uncharacteristically this season, just really didn't show up in that first half. Beaten in so many ways. Made the halftime adjustments. 3rd quarter came out storming. Ended up tying the ball game. But now the Riders have assumed command again. Arland Bruce, Marquet McDaniel back. Forearm with a big leg. Boots one deep. Bruce getting some running room on the right side. Cutting back. Goes down at the 32-yard line.
Good return from Arland Bruce to give the Tiger Cats a little bit of breathing room here. But still a long way to go to get to that end zone.
They'll have to do it quickly. They have to put up a score here within the next 45 seconds, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, if they have any hope. But again, second downs have been a real problem here in the second half. Hands in and caught. Once again, Arland Bruce, the big playmaker, brings it to midfield.
Bruce has delivered the biggest play in this game for the Ticats so far. And that's another huge one.
We'll hurry up offense, no huddle. Glenn marks out some signals to Preche Rodriguez. Heard a lot from Rodriguez here tonight. Out of the backfield is Cobb. There's a penalty marker down. Could be a holding call here. Marwan Hage is pleading his case. To no avail.
Holding. Hamilton, number 66. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Penalty on Alexander Gauthier. So the field becomes longer here for the Cats. 2:06 2 to go in the fourth. And over the top. Bruce again. Shakes one. Good play there to bring him down by Lance Fraser. And they will no huddle again.
That should be another first down for the Tiger Cats.
This is where the experience of Kevin Glenn comes in. He's been here and done that before. Last 2-minute drives. Thrown behind Arland Bruce. Dangerous toss.
That's one where it seemed as if Kevin Glenn may have been predetermined as to where he was going here.
Here's the rush. Glenn escapes. Rodriguez has it. Gets outside, but again, tripped up by Lance Fraser and will be held shy of a first down again.
But it's a time of this game where you're going to go play some 3-down football.
Third down and 5.
On that 5 yards, if nothing else, helps him out a little bit on third.
So this is ball game here if they don't get it. Glenn over the top. That's it. A defensive stand, Glenn. And the Cats see their hopes end right here. 1:14 to go in a 10-point game. Now, I guess, you know, some might think at that point you could also bring Seta in, kick the field goal, but it is against the wind.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one here. Tough situation. I think that's absolutely the right decision for the Tiger Cats to go for it on third down. Because if you're going to go for the field goal knowing that you'd still need to get a touchdown later, you need that field goal to be automatic. And from there in this wind, it's not.
And it certainly is not. Now Saskatchewan will just control the football. What a night, what a game for Wes Cates. He's been the constant. The Roughriders were outstanding in the first half, as was Darian Durant, but he has been the constant in this ball game.
Hamilton.
Yeah, he has. This has been a football game where the Saskatchewan Roughriders came in with a clear agenda to establish Wes Cates, get him involved in the offense, and really establish that ground game. They did that early. Because they were able to do that, Hamilton had to commit defenders inside a little bit to deal with Cates. That left them vulnerable on the edges to Durant getting outside. Some of Saskatchewan's biggest plays in this game have come, particularly in the first half, when Darian Durant broke contain. That's a direct result of the effect that Wes Cates had. Now as Hamilton has been worried about Durant in the second half, and as Saskatchewan has needed to eat up some time on the clock, Cates has become important again, and he has performed.
There's the pitch to Cates. The first down. They can just chew up the clock now. And vindication in this game as well for Darian Durant in many ways. He was pulled last week against the BC Lions in the loss. 50% passing tonight on 15 of 30. One thing about Darian Durant in this game, showed a lot of poise. Did not panic at all.
Yeah, he has, and that's always been a part of Darian Durant's character, his reputation as a quarterback. But you see it even more. You know, Chris Schultz mentioned at halftime, the maturity that you're starting to see that's coming with experience for Darian Durant. Good decision making.
Cates continues to accumulate the real estate. 37 seconds to go, and you might as well put the win up. And the West becomes even more logjam. 2 4-3s after week 7. 2 3-4s as we head to a bye week. And over in the East, the Hamilton Tiger Cats will fall to 4-3.
Yeah, and this one will count as a very important victory for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. ends a 2-game slide here at home, which is uncharacteristic for this team. But also knowing that they've got to go to Montreal, so fly across a couple time zones to play a tough opponent 5 days from now on a short week. They have a big challenge ahead, so that's when you want to go into with a little bit of momentum.
And Marcel Belfait, who used to coach in Montreal as well, he and the Cats now will start cheering for the Saskatchewan Roughriders next week during their bye week. They'll be watching that game.
The clock will be held to the snap of the ball.
Alouettes 6-1 start.
There's some positives certainly that the Hamilton Tiger Cats can take out of this ball game. Obviously the third quarter being the biggest one.
Yeah, hold.
But also a lesson. And that's that you better be ready to play right from the opening kickoff.
And it's been a problem for the Cats this year, their first quarters and their starts. Quentin Porter pulled early. He was not sharp. Kevin Glenn showing some savvy coming in. That touchdown to Arlan Bruce really changed the game in so many ways. And the losing streak will continue against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who have had Hamilton's number. It'll be 11 in a row for the Riders against the Cats, dating back to ...2003. Hamilton still has not won in Saskatchewan since August of 2000. It's a tough place as an opponent to come in here and win. Past 7 other CFL teams. Just this stadium, these fans who live and bleed green. They love their Riders. And they love this result here tonight. Although it was a little bit of a nervous fourth quarter. That will do it. The Riders end a 2-game losing streak at home. Move to 4-3. The Cats roar back, but not enough. Saskatchewan wins 33-23. Goodbye from Regina. Sports Center coming up.